floor visits.
John,
And then,
as we go into the shoulder season now, is there anything for the property operators on this call that they should be doing with their system to prepare for cooling season? Like, do they need to physically go up and change a dip switch setting or a cycle setting for getting out of heating and going into cooling? How does that work?
So it depends on the system you have. If you have a heat recovery, which you guys have heat like a HR box, which is a 3-pipe system, there's no need to do anything. Heat pump, you depending on what settings you have in it, you can set the tone, but usually they have a primary and a secondary. So the primary is what's going to set the tone of what season you want to be in. So usually you have to just set that mode for the primary. And that would say on the Daikin unit specifically, that it would not indicate a master control thermostat. That's something you should look out for.
Presume
But
with Hero
relative
that could
to-
be.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
Hero-
Vincent answered that a little bit earlier, but I presume with Hero that could be changed through the cloud, right? Through your dashboard.
Yeah, within seconds. You know, and you have the prohibit mode. Oh, that was another thing. They have the ability to prohibit between a certain set point. So tenants are not setting thermostats down to 60, running the unit for the energy side, you know, and they're not getting, you know, you don't want the space to be 60 at the end of the day. You want to be able to maintain a certain set point because Daikin has these controls.
and I think
ability
what's
to prohibit.
important is what's a mutual benefit for us and for your team is we don't have to roll a truck, right? We don't have to go visually and see what's going and do anything. We can do that from here, or we can teach you guys how to do it, right? So these are the little things that every time someone rolls a truck, it just costs you money and the clock starts, right? We're here. That's the streamlining of being able to pretty much edit your system based on how you want to see it, with not having to live like other systems, like the water cooled side of things. And I don't mean to pick on it, but it's the truth of being able to be at sacrifice to what the last action was. You don't need to do that with this system. And you can be specific to condensing unit. You can train them all units at the same, or you can go into individual condensing units and set it up. So it's the functionality is probably would get you in more trouble than it's worth, but you do have the ability to make emergency decisions and edit things in real time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In terms of, we have about 10 minutes left, guys, on the call, so I want to get through a couple more. There's a few questions in the chat that we're going to get to in a moment, but before we do, I want to talk quickly about parts procurement. So one of the issues, the hurdles that we've seen in several portfolio properties is getting parts, right? If a part fails, if we have a repair, we need a compressor, we need an inverter board, we need a wiring harness, right? How long? I'm putting you guys straight on the spot, Rebecca, Mike. How long is parts going to be for our system, right? Because in some circumstances, and this is not you guys, but we do have vendors saying, oh, there's a 4 to 6 week wait on a compressor, and we have no heat in our building. So that to me is something that we need to really be able to curate as a team here, right? Is the reason why we have you guys folded in and involved in these things is that we absolutely cannot wait 4 to 6 weeks. We can't wait 4 to 6 days if we're in a deep freeze, right? So we need to have some type of system. So just a heads up, what we've begun doing throughout our portfolio and a few properties that we've begun this with is we've created a critical spare part program. Very strategically, Mike, Rebecca, and their teams have come out to some of our properties. I know Oran 8 Court, I know Bridge on Race has deployed this strategy, is that we're identifying what are the most common parts that for replacement and actually purchasing them and stocking them at our property. So it will either reduce or completely eliminate lead time on a repair. So with that said,
So I'm gonna take the bullet on that one because this has been a problem that we've been identifying. But I am happy to report I have been involved with distribution over the past couple months. We've identified that although we were set up with a great warranty response, the emergency service response needed for us to get a better understanding of our hands on what needs to be stocked locally. Now, Nick, what you're explaining for is same day repair. We believe in that approach. But really what we are working towards is getting a full market inside of where we're at of the parts identified to be as an emergency. See, Daikin already went through all the work and identifying and tiering their parts by what's called A, B, and C based on severity and capacity, right? So they already know what are the more critical parts. Then they tier that, right? And we've been working really hard over the past few months to get this stuff locally, not just for Rose Associates, not just for Arista customers, but Arista is also here to protect the brand. We want to make sure that Daikin is doing things that we expected from an emergency service approach. So we have been working really hard and we're making really fantastic progress. We're over 700 SKUs, 750 SKUs have already been ordered through Texas and arriving in our local distribution, right? The spare parts approach that Nick, you're referring is a fantastic way of ensuring same day repairs, right? In most manufacturers, like what you're saying is, 3 to 5 days is kind of what's expected. But we, especially at Arista, we look for that same day repair, like putting capacity on. To your point, you touched on something very important. These are residences. We have to get that capacity running as soon as possible. So we are running and we are seeing fantastic, because we're dealing straight with Japan to Texas, straight into New York City. So when you're dealing with that, eliminating the middle people and really deciding what needs to be, that part procurement piece is already, we're starting to see huge benefits from it. But yes, that approach of the emergency spare parts, we already aligned what that was based on what the agreed upon severity was for the part replacements for procurement. So we're already working on that. And we're one of the few, if not the only service contractor that's dealing directly with distribution to get this right.
Great. So a few takeaways, because that's a very important part of this ecosystem and managing these buildings, right? We don't want to wait for it to come through an extended period of time. So we are 3 takeaways, folks, for today's call. 1, if you do not have a maintenance contract with a qualified vendor, and I emphasize qualified vendor as we're speaking today, we need to get them out there and do that. And regardless if it's a Daikin system, if it's a Mitsubishi, if it's, reach out to MicroEye. We have procured those vendor relationships with not only Arista, but other vendors as well that can help us do this, right? So there's your maintenance contract. Absolutely critical for if you want your building to run right with heating and cooling, and we all do, you must have that. This is a building critical system. There's no reason whatsoever we should be deferring the maintenance on our critical building systems. So if a situation like that arises and someone's here, I'd be happy to join a call, join a meeting, and express the importance of a maintenance contract to keep our building running properly. So that's 1. There's a maintenance contract. 2, our takeaway. There's a lot of benefits if you have the Daikin system to the Hero controller. We want to send Mike and his team out to each of the properties that are on the call today with that equipment, with the Daikin VRV equipment, and provide estimates for that. So if you have anything like schedules of equipment, anything that can make that process easier for Mike and his team, please send it over to myself or Mike D, and we'll communicate with the Daikin team. And 3, your critical spare parts program. That's another process that we're going to do. And again, whether you have Daikin, whether you have Mitsubishi, LG, Lennox, we're going to have a vendor for you come out and quantify to the dollar of how much, what equipment, should be on the shelves in our buildings, and how much it's going to cost, right? So when we do that, we can present this to the budget. I think these are things that set us above our competitors, right? I don't know if our competitors are doing this, but I know what we're doing. And these are things that set us in front of that for success, right? So we're going to be prepared. We're going to be properly diagnose the equipment. We're going to have a backup plan for critical spare parts. we're going to be able to have the correct people who are knowledgeable on these site-specific systems that we need. So those are the three things. Everyone on this call really should have those three things. And if you don't, we need to reach out. We need to get a proposal for a maintenance plan. We need to get a proposal for a spare parts program, and we should be getting proposals for the Hero. So those are my three things. Mike, do we have any questions in the chat as we wrap this up over here? Omar.
Yeah, I got a few quick questions. So if we do this, if we end up signing up for the Hero module, is this, do you know if that is covered by the incentive? I'm not sure if I heard that right, through Con Ed?
Rebecca
Hey,
is going to I'll hand it over to Rebecca. Go.
I'll also
Okay,
jump in here
awesome.
quickly. This is Whit from ELM Consulting, if I may just quickly add.
Whit,
We have
go
a
for it.
standing meeting every Friday morning at 10 with Charlie and I and other vendors and people from different buildings jump on as they can. We'd love to set up a discussion to discuss any buildings or projects and hone in on the incentives. There are some variables to the incentive amounts, and they do change year to year. But we're on top of all that and would love to set up any conversations around incentives, and we're here to do that.
Right,
Just
Thank you,
a heads up,
Rebecca.
Yeah.
Omar and his team has secured over $500,000 in incentives over the last 2 years with our
Right.
Thank you,
company.
Nick.
So
Great.
they're experts in this field. There's no money upfront to them. They get paid if we get the incentive. So they're a part of this team, this ecosystem that we put together. So we're gonna figure it out. If you don't have Hero and you want it, we're gonna figure out what the benefits, what the incentives are.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect.
Thank you, Nick.
Just two more follow-up questions. So with the Hero program, right? So I was able to see the dashboard. So we had issues with our VRFs where the part that was listed based on our serial number was ordered, but then that's not what was in actually in our system. So if we sign up for the, like, we basically get the Hero, we'll actually be able to pull the actual part that we have, right? And so we know, and so we can order faster, and God forbid something happens. Or does the Hero system not able to identify the specific part that's in our compressors?
When we start going into anything that's tied into Hero Cloud, we take a full catalog of all your condensers. We share that with distribution for us to get a list of all the critical parts to make sure that they are in stock locally. I can't speak on, I'm not sure, as far as a parts breakdown, I'm not sure Hero Cloud is something that's going to be able to break that down for you, but we have immediate contact with distribution to make sure, ensure the board. I haven't had that issue yet where we're, the wrong board. However, every time we bring on a new location specific to Hero Cloud, we go ahead and we send that your asset list over to distribution to make sure that we're already moving forward, stocking the right parts, so that when we get a call, our vans are on the way with the part in hand, if local, and if provided you don't already have it on stock, to turn this around on a first-time completion repair.
All right, sorry. And then my last question is about the warranty. So when you guys talk about the 10-year warranty on parts, that's assuming that we're also maintaining with one of your certified vendors. And then how often does that need to happen in order for the warranty to be in place?
So there are things that may negate a warranty if it's maintenance related. The warranty itself is 10 years from either startup or unit manufacture date. If you have the startup date, that's when it starts. So yes, if there is something where we identify or they identify that it's a maintenance related issue, there may be a question, but if I'm being completely honest, we haven't run towards that yet. But as we start moving forward, the idea is to make sure that the maintenances are being upkept, so you're not getting the same failures time and time again. There are more maintenance related failures than mechanical failures, but what ends up happening is too many of those instances where the maintenance related failures start to build up, starts having a negative impact on the main and mechanical equipment. And that's something that, we'd be able to identify. So the warranty itself, it's 10 years from startup date.
Thank you.
Yep.
suppose if you don't change a filter in 5 years on a branch box and the compressor fails, that would probably, Omar, be an example of something that would reject or void a warranty on that. And they would probably, you have a difficult time trying to collect a parts warranty on something that was neglected is what Vincent, I think, was alluding to. That's why good record keeping with maintenance programs is super important for these things. All right. Any other questions in the chat? Oh, Mike, go ahead.
Adriana, you have a question?
Nick, you want me to add to this conversation?
Sure.
All right, we're talking about two different things. We're talking about communication, something to be added on to the existing BMS system to monitor systems and give you answers on why something is wrong. And then we're talking about VRF, city multi-systems. Does your monitoring system replace the current Microtech onboard controllers?
What do you have? What kind of microtext do you have? A DOAS
Microtech 2.
or a DOAS system?
Yeah.
Okay. If you give me the model number, I could just make sure the compatibility is working. But yes, I'm going to say yes. Microtech does interface with Hero
And how does it communicate?
through I can't remember if you give me the model number, I could give you what parts are needed for the Hero additionally on that.
Okay.
I believe Adriana had a question as well.
We're just wondering if the Hero is compatible with the Linux systems. But it looks like we just need to provide model number to John, so we will do that on email.
Copy that. All right, folks, as we thank you guys all. As we wrap up, just again, we're gonna just a FYI, we're gonna have a recording of this session that's going to be available to everyone. We're going to post it on our My Rose, and we'll distribute it appropriately throughout the company. Also, we'll have a recap email with some contacts. But the next steps really are get your maintenance program, get a spare parts program, get an estimate on Hero. Right, those are the things. And if you have a Lennox, if you have a Mitsubishi, if you have an LG. We have some vendors also in addition to Arista that can help out with that as well. But I hope you guys, I hope we found this informative today, and just be out there and be the drivers of this program, guys. I know sometimes we move so fast. We have a big company. There's a lot of things going on, but as maintenance managers, as community managers, it's important that we communicate we fully communicate the understanding of having these types of programs in place for us to do that. Otherwise, we find ourselves in situations where we have, we end up like one condenser can feed 8 apartments, right? So if you lose a condenser, you lose a compressor or a board on a condenser, you have 8 apartments that don't have heat. And if you lose 3, then you have 20 something. So, and we've been there, right? I'm mentioning this because we've been there. So we're too good for that, is what I'm saying. So let's stay ahead of these things. We have some great resources in front of us, and as always, feel free. Mike and I are never too busy to hear from any of you guys on the call really today about what I'm having problems with this, or can you guys jump on a call? We need to talk a little bit about. I'm not sure I can effectively articulate what Hero is to my team and have them understand the importance of that. And then I'll tag Rebecca. Rebecca will jump on the call, and then she'll do that. She's good at that stuff. So anyhow, guys, thank you. Any questions following now, just feel free to email, and we'll be there for you guys. But I hope this was informative, and everyone have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the opportunity.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you
everybody.
all so much.
Take care,
Thank you.
everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.